Hi, I'm Bailey. This is Bailey Talks, where I talk, you listen, and hopefully we both learn something along the way. No scripts, no filters, just unique conversations. Let's see where we end up. Mate, how's your last couple of days been?
Yeah, it's been
good to meet you first and foremost.
Yeah, you too.
What up? How have you been? You been all right?
Merry
Been good.
Happy
New Year.
Happy New Year to you
All that
too.
sort of stuff.
Yeah, had a big couple of days.
Yeah, I know.
Had a crew of like 20 of us up in like Bluey's Foster kind of area.
Yeah, nice.
Just like,
20.
Yeah, it was 20, 21.
Yeah, wow.
In a little house, like you should have seen it, bunk beds,
Oh
like all
my
downstairs.
God. I saw you last night watching the movie. Everyone was on the couch, piled in.
Yeah, it looks smelly in there, eh?
Fucking hell, bro. Were you ripping in, or were you pretty cruisy?
Nah, it was cruisy. Like we had drinks and stuff on New Year's, but like other than that, it's pretty tame compared to going to a festival or something like that.
Yes.
Yeah, it was good.
No, that would have been good, man. It's nice to meet you in person. I know it's funny when you meet nowadays. It's such a crazy thing where it's like you meet people online and fucking you're chatting and this and that. We call each other brother and we're fucking boys and haven't even fucking met you yet.
Yeah, I know, it's weird, eh? But then, I don't know, sometimes you just chat to people and you just feel like there's an easy connection there.
Yeah.
It's easy to talk to and whatever.
No, thanks very much for coming on, man. But
Rothen.
Definitely keen to have a bit of a chat with you, and particularly over your last couple of years, and been a pretty crazy time for you. And I was just literally on your TikTok page looking at some of the skits and that, and fuck, I was watching the Bam Bam one, bro. I couldn't watch it, bro. I was wigging out.
It was terrifying, and like. You know
what?
Was
fucked.
When we did that, like out of all that, because through the editing process, we get to rewatch it and and then we cut it down into little pieces, and then they show us like the rough version. Because we like when you're there and like you're the person in that scenario, you're like, I was shitting myself. Like,
fucking oath you would have been.
Oh, but then you see the cut and you're like, oh, that's not how it felt. So then you got to go through it with them and like show them the little bits. Like there was a guy in that crowd that like looked at me and was pointing at me, going like, "Fuck you!" Like,
really?
And then, But
that
then,
looked really tough, man. Like that in particular would have been a real tough one.
Oh, it was. It was so hard.
And the boys weren't helping you too. The questions were fucked.
Nah, and there was other ones that like they obviously cut out just to stir it up a little bit more.
Yeah.
But yeah, and it was like 40 degrees that day out in Western.
I know. I saw you there. You was hot. He walks up. You would have been like, fuck.
Yeah. When we get there, like, because you don't know what you got to do about any of it. When there's a punishment coming up, it's like everyone's real secretive about it.
Yeah.
So like. The boys will sometimes we'll blindfold each other, like just get put in a car.
Don't know what you're doing.
Don't know what you're doing. Don't know where you're going. Don't know why you're doing anything. So like they just give me gave me palm cards, and then they dressed me up, and I was like, oh my God, I was wearing boat shoes and like tight chinos and like it's like fuck, what's going on here? Shit. And then they put me in this little room, and I wasn't allowed to walk out of there until they told me to. Yeah. And then they told me just before I went out, you're interviewing Bam Bam.
So you didn't even fucking know until the moment before.
Until like a minute before I walked out the stage.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it was terrifying. Like because I opened up the door. There's a crowd there. I've never hosted an event before in my life. Like, walked out there and then got these palm cards and I got the boys in my ear, sweating hot. And then they're like, fuck, I was like, Bam Bam. Oh, shit.
What was your first thought? Were you just like, oh,
run,
shit.
just run, eh?
Yeah.
I wanted to run so bad, but like, that's the thing about him. You can't.
Oh my God.
You just
do you reckon like going in blinded is like, you'd rather that than knowing? Like if you got told the day before, because I feel like sometimes even with the podcast, like I prefer to just like cameras on, mics on, not think about it and just fucking start chatting as opposed to like preparing and being like, oh shit, you got to say this, got to say that.
Yeah.
Sometimes the best things, the conversations are just, off the cuff. But
for
that,
sure.
It's a bit different too because you got the pressure of someone else is there and.
Oh, it's weird. Yeah. I think like when the feeling of that beforehand, like, because you don't know it's your punishment. Even there's times where you think you're going to do like a normal challenge, like just like a normal part of the show. Yeah. And it's like, oh, actually you're doing this today. And you're like, oh shit. But then you kind of always have this little suspicion in the back of your mind. It does it messes with you for a few days because
for sure.
Because we don't tell each other, you don't know when you're coming up. So like you're kind of always sitting there on edge a little bit. And then when you get there, you're like,
please not me.
Yeah. But you kind of know a little bit when you're coming. So you're like, everyone else has done a few punishments and then it's like, oh, it's got to be me next, surely. And then when it does come around, it's kind of like, it's scary. But then if someone told me, I think if they told me the day before, I'd be stressed as well.
Yeah, mate.
I'd be stressed either way.
You'd be crazy if you weren't.
Yeah,
and I'm really keen to talk more about that whole period and the preparation, and if you just get your feedback on how that was, because man, like, it was such good content. Like the videos were great. Like just seeing so raw, and like there's not a lot of that nowadays. And it was really just like you could see some of you were battling, but fuck, he's made it work. And I really thought it was a great watch. But before we get into that, I just want to ask you about, very quickly, Christmas, New Year's for you. Obviously, you went away with the boys, partners, big group years. What did you do for Chrissy? Were you there for Chrissy as well, or was it just New Year's?
No, just New Year's. Yeah, Christmas is like with family. My parents are separated, so morning's always at mum's. Yeah. Then lunchtime at dad's, and then normally my step family, I go down the coast and spend a bit of time down there.
It's a big day for you.
It's a big day.
You're gone,
mate,
family
after Christmas,
to family.
Yeah, just
so many people that same thing. Like some of my best mates, a lot of my best mates actually. Even my girlfriend's brother's partner, same thing. Like she's got to go to like grandma's in the morning, mum's in the afternoon, dad's at night, and she's just like, "Fuck, I'm just dreading this day." But you just got to tick a box, don't you?
Yeah, 100%. And the best thing for because I'm one of 5 boys, and normally like buying for my 4 brothers like presents, and then my dad, my stepdad, my mum.
Oh my God.
It's always just like Christmas is chaos. And then my brother's partner, and just like, so this year we just did a big Secret Santa. Perfect. It was way less stressful. Like, I was going to say,
Secret Santa's a lot easier. We did the same thing. I'm shocking at buying gifts for people as is. So when it comes to Christmas time, I'm just like, Secret Santa's good because you just get one.
Just get one.
Done. Don't have to worry about all the. I even agreed with my brother this year. I just said, mate, do you just want to. I called him and said, what do you want to do for Christmas this year? Like, we normally get each other gifts. And he was like, mate, do you just want to call it a day? And we'll just go, no presents for us. I said, right,
that's
handshake deal. So it's like, no presents for us. So
that's super easy then.
Yeah, okay. So Chrissy was good. A lot of fam. Did you watch the Boxing Day? Because you into cricket and that?
To be fair, like one thing, I normally don't like watching cricket.
Yeah.
But then I was talking to Falcon about it. We're at home. He's like, we got to put the cricket on. And I think because we watched it over the 4 days or whatever, we were watching it with all of our mates, and then when we were up in Bluey's, we were all sitting down in the lounge and we were going nuts about it. Like it was sick.
How crazy
I loved it. I was like, normally
the last day was crazy.
Oh yeah, it's like wild.
That moment when Nathan Lyon comes down, the last wicket when he bowls that delivery, and everyone's just around the batter and just going, "How is that one?"
So good.
That photo, I was just like, mate, that is
they've all got their
everyone's got their hands in the air. Fucking Gary Lyon with his bald head bowling fucking spinners. That was a big one. And actually the Sydney Test I think starts this week too. So I played a bit of cricket growing up, but I love getting around the test matches. Like some people would just find it fucking boring, which I understand. But I love like just posting up for an arvo, AC on. Like the missus is like, "What are you fucking doing? Let's go do something." And I'm like, "Mate, I'm perched."
Yeah, I think you have to watch it. Like you have to watch it like throughout the whole thing. Otherwise, if you get to the end, because if you just flicked it on and you're just watching like a minute of it, you're like, "Oh, this looks boring." But like if you see the little build ups, then that's when it all falls together. When they get someone out, you really appreciate it.
Yeah, that was a crazy day, mate. Let's run back to, because you're an electrician by trade, is that right?
Yeah.
What was life like for you before you sort of found the camera and really got into your content creation, things like that? Were you just pretty regular guy, cash jobs, fixing wires, just being a good mate, cash?
100%. It doesn't feel like that long ago. Like I was on the tools like about a couple of weeks ago. Just helping the boys out. But so. Yeah, pretty much when I've done my trade since out of school. Yeah. And then traveled a bit in between. Yeah. And then came back and was just working on the tools, and then got offered to do this TV show. And then since then it's kind of just been like, it's changed a lot now. Like, the first year after doing the first season, it was like straight back on the tools. And then just kind of see, because no one's seen it yet, and you still kind of just wait. Like you tell people, but people don't really get it. Yeah. You're like, "Oh, we actually just did a TV show," and they're like, "Yeah, right." Like you're on the tools. Like, yeah. And then it's not until like it started coming out, and then you're on the job site, and a few of the boys are like, "I saw you stripping on the TV last night." And it's like,
oh shit, it's a thing.
Now it's like people are starting to see it, and then we got offered another 2 off the back of that, which is really good.
Was that always the plan, or was that literally off the back of how the first one went?
Yeah, it's never really it wasn't always the plan. It's more just like test it, see how it goes. Even with me, like me especially, because the boys Matt and Jack have got a following, and then Dom's got a bit of a following. Yeah, and then when it comes to like them picking the people, they're like people were like, "Who's this guy?" He's a tradie, just like sleeping on the boys' floor in the office, like and he's got no media experience whatsoever. So it was a big risk. And then I guess they just like see what happens with these guys. Like we don't have a traditional TV background or anything, and then it went well. So
awesome. Man. What about what were you like at school? Were you always naturally, because obviously from looking at how you've been over the last couple of years or so, you're starting to get pretty good on camera, like you're talking more confident, things like that. Have you always naturally been like that, or you sort of, was it hard initially, or?
Yeah, kind of. I mean, at school I was a bit of like a class clown.
Yeah,
but I just liked
yeah.
having fun. Like I was like,
Yeah.
I didn't really take too much like notice of the schoolwork I should have probably been doing, but I wasn't going to uni. I knew that.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I guess in terms of the camera, like when we used to do videos and stuff with ourselves back in the day, like just like other things before Inspired, like we'd always just do shit in front of camera.
Yeah.
And then I guess slowly over the years, just kind of built up a little bit more of resilience towards it. And then first day of filming was terrifying though. Like, it's all this talk and you're meeting with all these people and there's like 30 people in a room like this, like 30 people standing behind 4 cameras and there's cameras everywhere. And it's like, it's your time to go.
Shit.
So you're like, oh shit, like I got to do something here now. Like it's my turn and I got to kind of prove myself as well because these people just are thinking this guy's got no chance. But then,
so I guess when you found out, were the boys pushing for you to get you in the ring with Dom and the other two, or did they come to you and say we need a fourth, or did you put your name forward, or how did that sort of play out?
Yeah, so pretty much Jack mentioned it to me like months and months like before it even started. He's like, oh, we might be doing a TV show. Like just like I thought him, like you might do a TV show. But they say like that, you know, there's a lot of opportunities and some things happen, some things don't. So I was like, oh, that's cool. Like,
see how
kind of just put it behind, like put it in the back of my mind, like, you know, it might happen, might not. And then it wasn't until like, months later, I was just on the golf course with a mate. The boys called me and were like, oh, we're going to do a TV show in 2 weeks. You keen? And I was like, fuck, like 2 weeks. Like I still was working. And then so I ended up calling my boss like straight after that phone call and was like, hey mate, like I'm going to give you my 2 weeks notice and go and do a TV show. And he's like, what? I was like, yeah, fucking. Then then just did it like that. It kind of happened like that.
Far out, man. And even like, because I was having a really good suss on your Instagram, because you do like a fair few solo skits as well. And I was running past the hard rated solo one where you're scaring your nan. That was pretty. Is she actually 95?
I think she's 96 now. She's the best, hey.
I loved how you were going hard on everyone else, and then when we come to her, you're like, oh, boo, or like,
I gotta be careful. She's getting old now. don't want to like scare her.
Nah. How'd your nan pass away? Oh, I scared her in a skit. Not a great ideal.
I think we've kept her young. Like me and my brothers, between all of us, we've just always like played jokes with grandma. Like we'd always be stirring her up around the house, or like. Yeah, just doing funny shit, and it keeps her young. She probably knows what you like as well. Are your brothers into like doing similar stuff to you, like pretty creative with the skits and stuff like that, or? No, not really. Like, I got 2 older brothers, and then one of them's just been in the Navy, the other one's a coal miner, and then my other brothers are younger. Right. Yeah, but they're like, one of my younger brothers, Riley's playing footy, which he's doing really well. He got a scholarship at like Knox College in Sydney. Oh, awesome! Which is really cool. Yeah. He's playing for the junior Manly team. That's unreal. Yeah, my other little brother Tyne, he's only just turned 15, but he's actually doing MMA, which is sick. Is he? Yeah, at like Volkanovski's gym down in Wingdang. Wow, mate. Yeah, big fan. What's it like in a big fan? Because I only got one brother, but pretty chaotic growing up with chaos. Yeah. Just like. I mean, there's a big age gap between all of us. Like, it's like 34 to 15. I was going to say, it is quite big, it's a massive age gap. But then, like, there's been periods where when everyone's home, it's just like chaos, hey? Like, there's just too much going on. It's hard, and it's also hard to get everyone in the one room as well. That's true. Everyone's doing their own thing. Everyone's in different places. I understand what you mean. Mate, what about any, like, fan encounters? Have you had any, do you get any weird messages and shit? Do you get many people sort of, or when you're out and about, do you get any weird people approaching you or any? Yeah, like Matt and Jack definitely get the most. Like they're constantly getting talked to by people in photos and stuff. But it's only been in the last probably 6 months or a year. Yeah. People have actually started being like, oh, like I know you, and it's like I'm still like, wait, what? Like, you do? Yeah. I don't like. It's weird to me still, but like, in the last like 6 months to a year, I've had a lot of people come up and ask for a photo and talk to you, which is sick. It's so cool, man. Yeah. Let's talk about, because I really want to dive into the practical joke, like what you did there. Tell me about the initial idea phase. So obviously Jack came to you, said that might have something in the pipeline, come to fruition. You called your boss. You said, I've got something coming up. I've got to go. Yeah. What was from that point on, that leading up into when you started filming, what sort of preparation was involved? I guess, what did you guys have to do yourselves? Did you know much going into it? Was it pretty much them telling you what the idea is? What was that like? It's a big process. It's like, because like that's the thing is like we made little phone videos our whole lives, and it's just between three guys in a kitchen or something like. But with the whole, like the show, it's like a full production. So like you go in there, you meet your directors and like all the people who are going to be like working on set. Sets, all the camera guys, and then we also meet up with like a bunch of creative writers, and we have like these big board meetings where you sit in a room and you kind of just sit down and just spitball ideas like, oh, let's be a mechanic.
Yeah.
And like, then they're like, oh, okay, mechanic, we'll put a big whiteboard up.
Yep.
Bunch of ideas, and we just kind of work out with the cameraman, like if we can make that location work. And if
so it really was quite hands-on. So you would get in a room and literally write it down and be like, this is an idea. How's it going to work?
Yeah, it's so fun. It's like,
wow.
And it's funny because like, you know, it's one of those things as a kid, you're like, oh, I'd be love to be a mechanic for a day or something. And it's like, you can say it, and then it's like, yeah, okay, we might actually do
Let's do it.
Yeah, and then they'll make it actually happen. Like, and they'll do it properly, big production. Like, we've done some pretty cool stuff. Like, obviously you've seen the first one, and then we've done a second one, and then we've got a third one coming out as well.
Yeah, cool. So tell me about the third one. When's that coming out?
We don't know the dates just yet. Yeah.
Have you done the filming?
Yeah, done the filming. Yeah, it's all done, ready to go.
Mate, I'd love to know about from the seasons, like how you've felt, I guess, personally, and what it's been like. Have you noticed that it's become a bit easier? It's still just as hard? Like, still get quite nervous and like same feelings?
Yeah, still get similar feelings. I definitely think though, because we did like filming back to back pretty much. So we filmed the second one, and then we kind of rolled into the third.
Straight to the third, yeah.
But by then we were like very dialed on like how we felt, and like, you know, just going through the motions of like, it's a weird day because like, you know, you wake up 7 o'clock and you're on location by 8 or 9.
Yeah.
And then you're filming all day up until sometimes midnight.
Yeah.
And then you come back and you go do it again the next day, but you get tired, and then I don't know, it's just a weird routine.
It would be, man.
Yeah, but it's really fun. Like, and then you can't, but then we just kind of got used to it, and I think by then we were just like feeling like we were just like real healthy, and we were like kind of like into it, and just coming up with good ideas on the spot. And
yeah, I guess you probably have days too where some days you feel like you're on, other days you feel like you're not.
Yeah,
did you notice that? Yeah.
Yeah, or either that, or like, it's good we got the four of us, because one day you might be off and the other boys are on. And it's like,
on.
Yeah, it's
We're
like,
all good
sweet,
boys.
thank you.
Let him take the stage.
Yeah, 100%. And like you can see it even in the edit. Sometimes you're like, oh, that was a tough day for me.
Yeah. What was some of your most, I guess, memorable or favorite skits that you did? Because the Bam Bam one for me was like, I was just pulling my hair going, this is fucked. The one with when you were in the IJ or the supermarket with the potato.
Yeah.
That was pretty fucking fun.
So that potato one, that was our last day of filming.
Yeah, okay.
And so we were like, oh, let's just like we'd already like wrapped. Like we all sit there like, all right, we've got all of our bits. Like we've already gone in, had our goes, and like, let's just all go and do something fun.
Something silly.
Go in as a 4-way, like, and just all go in and see what happens. And we just come off like,
was that off the cuff?
Just off the cuff, yeah. Like most of it's off the cuff. It's just like, but there's like one as a structure, one goes in. Yeah, we kind of feed them lines and stuff. But in there, we're just like, let's just go in and we'll start like this, and then everyone just improv on it and see what happens. And it was so funny, that potato lady.
Oh my god, man! She was looking at you, going, "What the fuck? It's a potato."
Even watching it back, I'm like, just her standing there the whole time going, "It's a potato," and we're like, "It's not a potato." Like,
I loved it when someone else come into you, like give him a kiss.
Yeah.
Is that the sort of stuff that's improv, or is that?
All of that was We when the first person went in and kissed, we're like, we should all do that. Let's keep doing that. And like, and obviously there's the American version as well. There's a lot of stuff in there that you see, and it's like, and you see what works, and it's funny. So,
do you have, like, obviously there's things that don't go to plan, like was there ever moments where it got super bad or awkward, or you like that you had to cut stuff out, or were there many moments like that? Or
normally it's pretty good. Like, most people are happy. Every now and then you get one person who's like, oh, I haven't done my hair, or, you know, like whatever. And it's just like, and they might not like it. But most of the people, when you tell them, it's like, they're stoked, because it's like, what an experience to like sit in a room, like, and you think you're waiting for, like, you know, you get your teeth checked or something.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden all this weird shit starts happening, and they're like, fuck, now I can tell people about it.
Do they know, obviously they don't know going into it, it's a skit. Mm-hmm. Do you have to tell them after, or what's the process there? How does that work?
So after every single one, we have to tell the people. We have to they sign, and they give us permission to use it and stuff. So yeah. But it's funny. Like, we've had a few people that have kind of like, you know, it's like, they feel a bit tricked, I guess. Like, you imagine just like you're doing something, and then all of a sudden you realize it's like, there's cameras everywhere. You're like, oh shit. It's like,
did any pick up on it? Did anyone like?
Sometimes you do, yeah. And if you you get people that, like, you know, because we have hidden cameras in the rooms.
True.
And they're not always perfect.
True.
Like they do amazing stuff. Sometimes they take out like a ceiling panel and then they put one in the roof. And if you're laying in, like, if you're an optometrist and you're laying in your chair, there's a camera up there. And sometimes people are like,
what the fuck
is that a camera? And
Yeah,
you're like,
yeah.
Oh shit! And
Oh,
then you
they
tell
got
them,
me.
you tell them, and you're like, right, we'll move on. We'll get another person in.
Yeah, did that happen? That happen often, or?
Nah, not really. No,
Yeah,
it's pretty good. Yeah. The other thing was like Matt and Jack get recognized or something.
Well, that's what I was going to say next. Did they ever people be like, I know you, or I don't know what you're doing, or?
Yeah, sometimes, yeah.
Yeah.
Like sometimes you get someone who walks in and it's like, or even if we're doing stuff in like a coffee shop and then
someone else walks past.
Yeah, and you kind of just like,
shut up.
Yeah, just move to the side. Like, and you like, they know as well because they normally know the show.
Yeah.
And they're like, I know what's going on here. And it's kind of, and they don't just go back to the corner and just kind of watch it or something.
So just run through with the listeners, anyone who hasn't watched or listened or tuned in, about how your skits work. So I know you mentioned how you sort of take it in turns, basically.
Yep.
Can you tell me a little bit about the setup with the microphone, what the basic steps were throughout the skit and the process of the skit, I guess?
Yeah. Went? So I guess, you go through you come up with the whole ideas, sitting around the table. And then once it goes into like the practical side of doing it, we have a gallery, which is like a room hidden out the back of like a coffee shop or whatever. And the three of us are there. We have a rough guideline of like things we could say, like some topics we could give them, but the rest of it's kind of improv in between. But we have a guideline just so we don't, if we get distracted or we can kind of go, say this.
Yeah,
whatever.
Gotcha.
But the other thing is we all get individual scripts.
Yeah.
So like they don't know what is anything that we might have written down for them to be said.
Sure.
Just so we have a little bit of a context to like in case we get stuck. But then send one person out into like the shop and they start doing whatever they're doing and you actually try and do the job and act normal. Yeah. And then that's when we start feeding them the lines. Yeah.
So is it, you obviously just got like a little earpiece?
Yeah, it's just a tiny little earpiece. It's right in the looks like a hearing aid almost. Like you can barely even see it. It's so good.
Can't see it.
You have like a microphone underneath your shirt. Yeah. So strapped up there and then they put its belt so it tucks in, you can't see anything.
Fuck, it's such a great idea, man. And it suits you boys perfectly too with your personalities and just being a bit silly, a bit weird, a bit different. And like I said, it was such a great watch. Was it what you expected going into it? Because like going into it, did you have any expectations with what it was going to be like or?
Yeah, we watched the American version a lot because like once we found out we were doing it, we kind of like, let's just watch we watched the American, the UK, and there was like another one that we watched just to try and see how like, what the format was.
Good
really.
idea, yeah.
Yeah, and we also did a thing with so it was Warner Brothers was the production company, and we did like a trial, which was so funny because like they were like, let's just go out on the street right now. We'll take one camera and you take a microphone and you just got to go up and interview people and like no idea what you're doing, and it was so hard. Like
would have been.
We're in a bus stop and it was just people coming everywhere and people telling us to F off and like we're just like,
oh my god.
And we did that twice and then we were like, holy shit, like is this the show?
Gonna work?
Yeah, like
is
this
gonna work?
And then literally on the first day of filming, we did it was the golf, like we were at a golf simulator.
Yep.
And we were like coaches, like fitting people for like golf clubs. And the first half of the day it was like car crash, like it was just the biggest train wreck.
Oh my god!
Because we had all these people there. We didn't know, like none of us actually knew how the format of the show was going to properly work. Like we know what they did in the other countries and whatever, but how do the cameras work and the microphones and the other people coming in, just like no idea.
Yeah.
And we all like went through, and the first people were just horrible. Like,
it just wasn't
working.
Camera. Just the dynamic was weird.
Yeah, it didn't feel good. One guy straight away was like, "Was that a camera? Like, am I on a show or something?" And I was like, "Oh shit!" Like that's one person gone.
Yeah.
And then another person, like you don't have heaps of people coming through every day to get fitted for golf clubs. And then so then we kind of like by lunchtime we were all sitting there with our hands between our legs, and we're like, "Oh shit!" Like
this is how
what have we done? Like what have we done? Like we need to go in there and like we need to do this, and all that. You can see all the crew kind of looking at us like, oh fuck, these boys might have be like out of their depth, like and then after it, we went back in after lunch and like someone got a good one, like Jack got a good one. And we're like, oh, that's how it's meant to feel. And then we got another good one, another good one. We're like, oh, thank God. And then at the end of the day, we're all clapping. We're like, yes, we can make this work.
We can do it. Oh my God, it would have been like a celebration almost.
Oh man, because then after that, we just knew that's the feeling we need. Like just have fun and just chase that feeling of like just be smarter and work around it and like and then you kind of there's a weird feeling in the room when you notice it's weird because you're doing this stuff like the comedy stuff, but someone you can tell by their eyes when they're like kind of, we call it like coming awake. When they start clicking onto like you doing weird shit.
You're fucking around a bit. Gotcha.
Yeah, so then you got to go back to just being completely normal, like and just be normal, and then you can continue for another 20 minutes.
So I guess that's where it comes. Yeah, perfect. So that's where it comes to when it comes to editing and they're clipping it and making it on the show. Obviously, it sort of looks like it's all
happening
piled in together.
Yeah, it does.
That's a good point though. So it's interesting to know that yous would say something, they'd be like, give you a weird look, and then you go back to just being normal, and then I guess that's the way you got to do it. Otherwise, you can't just go in 100 miles an hour and just be.
There's some people you can feel it with the person how much you can get away with, and then you can almost, if you go a bit too far, you're like, okay, bring it back, and then you go back, and then you go back again, and then by the end of it, you kind of just want to get to the point where they're like, this is ridiculous, like. Because then then you push it the comedy as far as you can. But you definitely get some people who just sit there and they're kind of just like, and because walking away is the funnest part.
Yeah.
Because you look at the cameras when you walk away and they're with their friend, they're like, oh my god, like, did you see what he just did? Like, it's so funny to see the behind the scenes of what someone's thinking about you.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Gee, some of them would have been like the potato lady would have been like, what the fuck? What is going on?
Yeah, 100%.
Tell me about Better Beer. What part do you have in Better Beer? Are you like, because you boys, you come up with some great ideas with your skits and giveaways, and Jack and Falks are doing such an amazing job with that. How did that idea come about? Can you speak a little bit about Better Beer and how that's been the last couple of years? And
Better Beer is like Matt and Jack's thing. But like obviously like all of us boys like we get a lot of benefits from it. Like get free beers, and then there's always a lot of events and things, and they do golf days and whatever, and like we all help out as much as we can in terms of like. If they need to do some content for Better Beer and whatever to help promote it, we're always there, for sure. And we get, like I said, we get a lot of benefits from it anyway. Like we don't have to buy beers. And it's pretty sick.
What about when you were with the show? You'll have to let me know where about you. It wasn't like a red carpet, but it was like promoting the show. You were all dressed up quite nice. What was that night like, and where were you for that night?
Oh, that the premiere.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, we did a premiere in Newtown.
Yep.
I can't remember the theatre there.
Nah, that's what I was trying to research before, but I couldn't find the information. But
yeah, I can't remember. It's where they host the events. I've been there so many times before, but I can't remember. It was like a big like kind of event center.
Yeah,
and we had just a bunch of people, which was weird as well. Like I brought my family, brought my boss.
Yeah, true.
That I used to work with. And just had like a big group of people come watch, and we were up on stage just talking about the show. And then we showed people the first episode.
I was going to say, how did it run? So they showed the first episode.
Yeah, I think we might have showed the first two.
Yeah,
which was good because like when like during the whole process we had no idea how it was going to be received.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Yeah.
Like you kind of, because we watch it that many times in the editing process. Sometimes by the time you get to the point where let's turn this on silent.
No, you're right, bro. No stress.
Yeah, sometimes where you get to the point where you've watched it that many times that it's almost like not funny to you anymore.
Yeah.
And you kind of, and we're also like looking at each other, and you just kind of want to get like, sometimes we'll show a mate like, do you think this is funny? And then they'll be like, what the hell, that's funny. You're like, yes, okay, thank you.
Perfect, it worked. Yeah.
So
it's like that reassurance, Yeah,
like, you need a little bit of it, because eventually like your brain just gets that foggy because you're just trying to think, was it funny with that little bit?
Was it not?
And then once we showed people at the premiere the first two episodes, like we were all sitting behind the screen like, please laugh. Like,
laugh.
And people started laughing like straight away, which was great. And then after it, everyone was like telling us that they loved it. So
did you get to watch most of the episodes before the premiere, or was that all? Yeah, okay.
Because we pretty much go through the whole editing process until it's locked off.
Yeah,
and then that's when it's like no more.
It's done.
It's done. Yeah. So we'll get from like 1 to 8, whatever.
Yeah.
And if we want, we can go through and watch them.
Yeah.
Which like we do, we'll sit down and watch them like at home and make editing notes, and then and then once you get to the point where it's done, it's like, oh shit, like. We don't find it funny anymore. It's like we've seen it a million times.
Yeah, I can imagine how that. What did the fam and that think, and your missus and things like that? Were they all pretty supportive and thought it was quite good? And
yeah, my mum loves it. She like tells all her friends. She puts up Facebook statuses even now. It's like it's a little embarrassing, but it's nice.
It's lovely. Yeah.
And then Tessa, she got dragged into the show a little bit because
I saw that. Yeah,
into the stripping one. Which
she's been in a few skits with you as well. I've seen.
Yeah. Tessa and I do a lot of stuff together, and like she's funny as well. And then she actually works with Better Beer. So like
perfect.
Between our friend group, to all the girls, like most of their girlfriends, like friends' girlfriends, all work with Better Beer.
Yeah,
which is really cool. It's like a big group friend kind of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Tess was supportive of it, and then also like that was meant to be her mum when that stripping show happened. Like, so thank God it wasn't her.
Oh my God.
I wouldn't have been able to do it. Like that would have added a whole another level to like how hard it would have been. But she went to Europe, thank God. So like it just didn't work out with the flights and times and stuff. But
thank God.
They told me after, and I was like, oh no. I was like, and then
that would have been tough.
It's scary though, because now I'm like, I know they know that I'm scared of that, and
they're definitely going to use it.
If there's another episode, they're gonna get it in for something. Yeah,
far out.
Yeah.
That would have been gnarly.
Yeah.
Did any of the boys or yourself even ever have or put in a position where you couldn't continue, or you like broke your character, I guess, as such, or did anyone Because like the Bam Bam one, man, I don't know how you stayed in that. Like
I wanted to break that.
Yeah.
Because I was like, there's a weird feeling because they're sitting in another room.
Yeah.
And when you're in another room, no matter how much you think you know what's going on, you don't see
know.
everything.
You're not there. Yeah.
You're not there, and
yeah.
you don't feel the presence of like people. And then people were yelling at me like, going like, come outside, mate. I'll F you up. And I was like, holy shit. Like,
Oh, no.
and the boys are like, say this. I'm like, I can't like right now because that guy will kill me. Like,
Yeah.
And then eventually got to the point where with that one, like when they ended it,
Yeah.
they didn't even want to come out and like, because you got to tell everyone, and Bam Bam was in on it, and he was meant to tell everyone as well. But he thought it was hilarious, so he just walked off to go get the boys, and I'm sitting there in front of this angry crowd.
Oh.
And like our directors and stuff like, get off the stage now, like go run into a room,
Get in there.
had the door, like had my foot on the door, like holding the door.
Oh my god.
People were trying to get into the room, and then it wasn't until eventually, like a couple minutes later, he come out and told everyone. They thought it was hilarious after that because they all love him.
Yeah, of course.
And they just were like, "Oh, Bam Bam was in on it, so it's kind of is there." They're like, "It's funny," and they're like, "You got some balls coming out of you saying that."
Oh my god, mate.
Yeah, it's wild.
That was
nothing where anyone like broke.
Yeah,
More
yeah,
you get
yeah.
to the point at the end, and you're like, "Holy shit, you got to get out of here."
Yeah, yeah.
But no one really broke character.
Yeah, I guess like you said though, there would have been some of the skits would have been or went smoother than others. You would have ended some and been like, smash that versus, I don't know how well that went. Was there a lot of footage that got cut or not used, or was a lot of it actually?
Most of it's in there. There's a bit of stuff that didn't get used.
Yeah.
Like more like if we realized someone didn't like it or whatever, we would just if they didn't sign,
Yeah.
we wouldn't use it.
Wouldn't be able to use it. Yeah.
But then most of it makes it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Everyone's pretty good. It's
Everyone's
like,
good sport.
We actually have a couple throwaways each episode.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
we do more than what we need. And
Yeah,
then
perfect.
even though some of them are really good, we might just like have a better one.
Yeah, yeah,
Let's
yeah.
just use that rather than this.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
Cool, man. Let's talk about, I guess, not necessarily goals or plans for next year, but what have you got installed for 2025?
Yeah, that's a big question at the moment.
There's a lot. I'm sure the boys have got a lot planned. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I don't know. To be fair, I started doing a little bit of boxing last year.
Did ya?
Yeah, like I'm an athletic person. I love doing different sports. I'm not playing footy and stuff anymore. Stopped playing touch footy. Like I've had shoulder problems. Like I've had a shoulder reco.
Yeah.
But my shoulder's fine now. But it's more just like I don't want to risk going back into like footy, getting it done again, and then.
Yeah.
So then I don't know. Kind of always challenging myself. Tried to do a little bit of boxing last year, and then I went to this fight night up in Queensland from Alpha Blokes.
Yeah. Is that the podcast boxing event? Was it Goldie? Or?
It was in Goldie, yeah. So
yeah.
I went up to watch that. It was pretty rogue. It was funny. It was like a bunch of country boys just going crazy. But then I ended up talking to Tom and Eddie, like the Hello Sport boys, was like, "Oh, you guys hosting it again? Like, you should get me in for a fight." And they're like, we will. And then I was chatting to them just the other day. So I'm not 100% sure, but I'm going to try.
Might try and slot in the Gold Coast Cup. It's already sold out, hey?
Yeah.
Wow. That'd be
haven't actually told anyone that yet.
Right.
I only just like kind of chatted to them about the other day. They sound pretty keen to get me in for one.
Shit.
Which would be like scary. So
I know you're going to box, bro.
I know. Well, I got a few ideas, but I don't want to say anything in case they say no and it doesn't work out that way. But yeah, I'm definitely going to
try and fight. That would be a good
someone.
challenge.
Yeah. So that's the thing. Like, that'd be a good challenge for me. It's like something I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And then maybe a little bit of travel still.
Yeah, cool. Because I had I don't know if you know the Daily Blues boys from Newey, so they fought on it last year.
Yeah,
and I had them on the podcast a few weeks back, and they did like a tag team. It was Bluey, and Bluey's
I was up there watching it. There was a few people I didn't know, but it was pretty funny,
mate. He was showing me the footage the other day of him, and he's a pretty big unit, and they fought some Queensland fellas, and then Gabe was their other mate, or the other boy in the podcast. Mm-hmm. And not much of a boxer, and it was so cool to talk about their training camp because they went full hard out with it. Like they did a full program, and they were boxing with one of the local boxers in town here, and just watching the footage of that night and how it went and the boxing, like it looked insane.
Yeah, and it's a different type of fitness boxing. Hey, like
oh man,
I've been training a little bit now, but like that was my plan to get past New Year's, and then from now just try and take it a bit easy and just rip into like I'm gonna like do like a fight camp. Just try and because there's a lot of guys from our gym fighting as well, like around that time, so slot in with them. And then like that's the thing. Like if you don't want it to come down to your fitness, is the reason you lose.
No,
you
don't.
You just want to.
I guess the funny thing is you see so many boxers where they look so fit and they say how fit they are, but they still get in the ring. You're still fatigued. Hey, so it just goes to show how much it can cook you.
Yeah, 100%. Especially when you're nervous since your first time. Like I've never had a fight before.
I was going to say, have you done any fighting before? No.
No, never had any fighting before. So like it'll be like, and then also there's a crowd, which is like it's just another level of like nervousness.
Has to be, man. Because at the end of the day, you don't want to get knocked out or you know what I mean.
Well, like, did you watch any of that last year? Like
highlights.
Yeah, like Jarchi went in last year and he ended up getting knocked out and like just cut his shoulder. Yeah, and I was like, fuck, it's kind of probably as bad as it gets.
Pretty
but
full on, hey.
It's full on, yeah.
It's a great idea though, and it just goes to show how quickly it's sold out and the tickets, and they've got so many people putting their hand up to want to go and box. Like, I would love to do that in the next couple of years or something along those lines. I think it would be sick. I would be shitting my pants.
It's a good challenge. It's a good challenge.
So good, man.
Yeah,
I just need to find another little stocky nugget like me who want to throw down. But
there's heaps of them probably.
I'd probably get flogged. I'm not much of a boxer, so
yeah.
But it's one of those things. Good challenge for yourself. Something to keep you. A goal. Well, it's a good goal. Did you have any other New Year's goals, or are you someone to like write down a bunch of goals and things like that? Or?
Yeah. Normally, like I had heaps of goals last year. And then I guess this year, like stepping into this new world of like, I guess like I haven't been on the tools now for a bit. I want to try and like do new things in this this world, which I'm not aware of what they are yet. Like but like I definitely just want to keep like challenging myself.
Yeah.
So whether that's like try and get on another show or if we get another season, that'd be great. But just like put myself out of my comfort zone a little bit more. Definitely. And just take these risks, even if they might not be the right one, but just to try things so that I can be like, maybe I don't like that, maybe I want to do this, and try and find some avenues to go down. Yeah,
man, it is a crazy world we live in right now with content, social media.
Yeah,
what advice, or I guess generally speaking, what would you say to someone who really wants to try and push the boundaries with content creation and their social media presence, or what would you say to them if they were keen to try and build up a bit of following, try and get out there and create cool content? Because it's hard nowadays because there's so many more people doing it. Yeah. Podcast, for example, is hard. I mean, I do podcasts now because I just enjoy chatting with people and getting to know people, but also learning shit. Like I just love learning stuff. And, and I find that really interesting. So I do that more because I enjoy it. But in a world where there's so many people podcasting and you can do it so easy now with phones and whatever. Yeah. What's your advice to someone who's wants to fucking get on the show with you?
Yeah, I don't know. It's a hard one because like, I've kind of just like fallen into it in a weird way. Like we've done this stuff for years, and then I guess like do the stuff that you love, even if it feels weird to everyone else. Because like even before this started, like we were doing this stuff and we were considered weirdos for it.
True.
Everyone in our town, we were doing stuff in the footy sheds, like, and all the footy boys would be like, like, what the fuck are you guys doing?
So weird.
Or even just like people from other towns would be like, you guys are sussos. But now it's like done a full 360 where everyone's like, oh, that's quite cool. Yeah.
It's so interesting, hey, because it's like, when you are putting yourself out there online and trying to create videos or do skits or even podcasts and whatever, there's a lot of people who are keen to shut you down or be like, what the fuck are you doing? Or quick to judge, right? So we're in a world now where it's very easy for people to judge, but I think I agree with you for sure. I think you just got to do things you enjoy, do things you love.
Yeah, that's the other big one. I think just have fun. As long as you're having fun, that's all that matters. Like even with the show going into it, we had no idea how it was going to work. Like our whole like thing was just like, let's just go in there, have fun. If it doesn't work well, we had a good time. If we're having a good time, it shows. It shows other people. Yeah.
And you definitely are, because what you're doing is honestly, it's so funny. I think it's great, and I love watching what you're doing. So it's awesome.
Yeah, cheers. Thank you.
Where do you see yourself like 5 years from now? 5, 10 years?
That's a big question.
How old are you now? Are you
29?
Yeah, right. Yeah. Yep.
My girlfriend's dad, when I first met him, he goes, where do you see yourself in 5 years? And I was like, just got back from Canada. I go, mate, I don't even know what the fuck I'm doing tomorrow.
I don't even know what I'm doing fucking next week.
Yeah, 100%.
It is a hard question, hey?
Yeah, it is. I mean, I am like, again, like normally I have a big like goal planner. Like back before, like when I was a bit younger, I'd had like, I finished my trade, I'm going traveling. Like so that was my year, like my plan.
Yeah.
And then it's kind of like, again, I came back in, I was like, I'm going to Canada. I lived in Canada for 2 years.
Did ya?
And I was like, that was my goal, And then now that I'm back and now I've got this like opportunity, it's kind of like, I don't know what I'll be doing in 5 years, but like I want to keep going down that route.
Yeah.
Hopefully
pushing the boundaries.
Yeah, just keep pushing myself.
Yeah.
Like this, like you got so much time to keep going, like to just do more and more.
Yeah.
It's exciting. Like, I'm frothing.
Mate, so good. I honestly think you're perfectly cut out for it all too. I think the dynamic of you and the boys, your personality, like, yeah, it's fantastic. I really love what you're doing. So can't wait to see what you guys are going to bring next year or this year.
Yeah, we'll have another season coming for you.
And another season, and even yourself with your own content, what you're doing, and no doubt we'll see you around. I'm sure everyone's seen you already, but love what you're doing, and definitely thanks for coming on today. It hasn't been too long, but just wanted to get you on and talk about the show and what you got coming up this year. And if you're in the boxing ring, look, listen. Oh, there's a chance I'll fly up, mate. You know, get in
sure.
there,
I'll let you know.
Cheering out for you. So that'll be a cool challenge for you for this year, man. But thanks very much for coming on. Appreciate it a lot, and no doubt we'll be in touch and hopefully link up in the future. So
sweet. Thanks for having me.
All right, guys. This has been Bailey Talks, episode number 16. Hope you guys have enjoyed. Got Liam Moore, the man, here today, talking all things work, content creation, the boys with their show, and of course the big boxing fight to come, which we don't know yet, but you never know. Could get him in the ring.
2025 has just started. Let's get into it.
Let's go. Thanks for listening, guys. Hopefully see you soon. See you next week. Peace.